Students who just came in, have you actually used Google Colab before? Who just came in? Yes? No? You? Have you used Google Colab before? No. Jupyter Notebook? Jupyter Notebook? No. How come? Have you ever done any data science? Not yet. Have you used Python before? Yes. Which IDE do you run that on? Yes. And you are from software engineering, BSE. Oh, okay. So we have a mixture of students. A small portion of them haven't used Google Colab before. So we'll do we're supposed to do some introduction to Google Colab today. So I think for this group of students, we can do it a little bit differently. Let's see how to go about that. Okay, so those who are already familiar, maybe this is just a refresher to you, which I think there is nothing much new, but yeah, just a quick refresh. And this is the first time I see you in small group. So hello, I'm trying to recognize faces. Yeah, okay, cool. So those who miss, have you watched the recording of last week's practical? You are aware of what you need to do for coursework, yeah? Okay, I just want to make sure that you don't miss last week's practical. Okay. So this is Google Colab, introduction to Google Colab. So what is Google Colab? Google Colab is just an IDE that we can run Python code on. So it will also allow us to write notebook using Markdown language as well as running code blocks. It allows to write two things on this Google Colab. And there are a few reasons we use this Google Colab for in our class. First thing is because it writes and runs Python. Second thing is it saves us trouble of installing the packages on our machine itself. And because this Colab notebook is developed by Google, hence we are actually connecting to the computing resources which is provided by Google. So we are not running the code using our own the processor on our machines. Instead, we are using the processing powers provided by Google. So it first thing first, using this Google Colab notebook gives us a few advantages. So we can easily pull the data from multiple sources very easily. Say, for example, we can save all our image files in our Google Drive, and we just connect or mount this notebook to Google Drive in order to access them and read them. So another advantage is we have the access to the GPUs and TPUs, more powerful processing powers provided by Google for free. Okay, so this is also specifically designed for machine learning and also data science tasks, as in it has a lot of packages pre-installed, and what we need to do is just to import them to use the codes. Okay, and that is Google Colab. So over here, I have for you a list of tasks that we can conduct on Google Colab. Yeah, we can write and execute code in Python in Google Colab. We can also share our notebooks. Then we can also connect our notebook to our Google Drive. And finally, most importantly, we have the access to free cloud service. Okay, free cloud service. So now, students, did you come here because you see my message on the whiteboard? Huh? Oh. Oh, okay. Ah, okay. You went to the next class. Oh gosh. Isn't okay, where did we stop? So students who just came in, have you used Google Colab or Jupyter Notebook before? Yes, yes. A little bit means yes. Have you used Google Colab before? Hello. Yes, you. Behind. I'm not Tom. Okay. So before you came in, we just gave an overall introduction of what this Google Colab is. So right now, let's just use this link and access this Google Colab. Okay, so this is how we are going to run our practical labs in the future. I will provide you with a workbook that is uploaded on My Times, and we shall follow what is in the workbook. So in the workbook itself, what you will find is description of what we are trying to achieve that day. And we'll go through some of the important parts to make sure that you understand and how to troubleshoot whenever you face some difficulties. So I don't think we in the future will be able to finish everything or running all lines of code within 1 hour of class. So this is what we are going to do. I will give you a workbook and you shall follow everything that is written in the workbook. And in case you encounter any errors, we'll discuss in the next class. Okay, so have everyone launched the Google Colab notebook? So once you use this link to access the Google Colab, this is what you see. Yeah. So in the case where you already have some existing notebook saved somewhere in Google Drive or GitHub, this page will allow you to access to those code files very easily. Okay. So in the case where your friends have shared you any .py or .ipynb files, so this is also the place where you can upload the file and read them from Google Colab. Okay, where you upload the file to read them. So in this class, we'll just take a look at what is this about. So we will launch a new notebook. So there are just a few functions that I want to introduce. And since most of you have used Google Colab before, so then let's do something differently. So now on the top left corner, this is where you will see the title of this notebook. So whenever you launch a new notebook, what actually happens in your Google Drive? So whenever you launch a new notebook, your Google Drive auto create a folder called Colab Notebooks. And within that Colab Notebooks, it will save this new canvas that you just launched in under that folder. Okay, that is automatic, so we don't have to worry about losing the code or losing the file, right? So this is where we can rename our files. So in order to rename our files, we will change whichever thing that is in front of .ipynb to our desired title, say my CVNLP notebook. And the files within your Google Drive will be auto-refreshed or replaced with this name. Okay, so this is how we set the name of our notebook. So now, how do we then share this notebook to anyone we want to share this notebook with? How do we share the notebook? So we use this share button. And once we hit on this share button, it will be prompted with this window. So under this window, this is where we can see the access rights that we are trying to share the link with. So now here, what we need to work on is this general access. By default, the access right is configured to restricted access. So if we have this setting, this configuration, and we try to copy a link and share it to our friend, the person who received the link, even though the person have clicked on the link, the person will not be able to access to the content of that notebook because the access is restricted. Okay, so in order to make it easier, or for the submission of your assignments, do configure the access to anyone with the link play the role as a viewer. So that means I can at least view the code or the files that you share using the link that you copy. So remember, whenever you change the configuration here, recopy the link and paste the link to the one or to the assignments. Yeah. Okay, so this is about setting the name and also sharing the file. So now, I think that's a basic that we need to know. So now the next part is going to this main canvas. So what are we doing with this main canvas? There are two things that we can do. So first, insert a code block that will allow us to run Python codes on it. And also insert a text block where it allows us to type some passages within those to describe what we are trying to do. So there's this code block and this text block. Okay, so on the code block itself, this is where the code can be run. So once we type this over here, we have, say, let's just say that we type the same thing in the code block as well as in the text blocks. Okay, so this is how a text block will look like. It will just appear as text, plain text. Okay, so then in the code block, we can actually execute or run this code using this play button. So once we hit on play, you will see that this connect is changing. So it is updating. That means we are now connecting to the computing, the processors of Google, provided by Google. And once this is updated to an icon of RAM and disk, we know that we are connected, right? So we are actually sharing the resources. So once we finish working on this, please remember to detach it so that others can enjoy the facilities. Okay, so this is a shared resources. So this is what we are doing here with the code blocks. So we will be working a lot on the code blocks in the future, so we won't touch much on that. So for the code blocks, there are a few things that I want to introduce here, which is, yes, we can run the code using this play button. We can also use keyboard shortcut key to work around with running the codes within. Okay, so there are some useful ones. Feel free to explore them at your free time. Okay. So then how do we add on additional code blocks? We can use this button to add on more code blocks, or if we want to add on at this level, we can just hover over that block and say we want to add another code block or add another text blocks. It's as simple as that. Okay. So we just covered code blocks. How to, okay, so now What if we want to change the position of this block from one position to another? We can just click on that box itself. And on the right, you will see all of these icons showing up. Then we can use this arrow button to change the location of the blocks. And we can also delete these blocks in case we don't find them useful anymore using the delete button. So to delete them. So if you want to move multiple code blocks, we'll just need to select this one, hold on the shift key on the next one, and we can move this in block. Okay, that is a quick intro on code blocks. So now an introduction to the text cell blocks. So the text cell blocks allow us to put in a description of what we are trying to do. So now, once we double click on the text cell blocks, you will see that this is initiated. So whenever we type something here, it will also show a preview of what it is going to show once we deactivate the blocks. So this is how it will display. So now on the left is where we input our text and format our text. So the language that is used in this text cell blocks is called the Markdown language. So Markdown language means there are some shortcut keys for you to work around with the with formatting this text. Say for example, if you were to put the text in between asterisks, we are basically making them italics. So if we put them in between two asterisks, we are bolding them. If we put them in between three asterisks, we are making them bold and italic. Okay, so these are some of the basic functions. And one of the most useful functions within these text cell blocks is creating the table of contents, in case you want to know. So now I would like you to click on this button over here on the left, the 3 dots and 3 lines. So once you click on that, you can see that currently the table of contents is empty because we have not created any sections of that. So how do we create sections under this table of contents? We will use a hash key in the text cell block. So this is what we are going to do. Let's just say that we add on one hash in front of the text that we just typed. So now we are making this as a heading or as a section under table of contents. Okay. So now say we just want to add on another table of content or another topic. So we'll just go to another text cell block and say topic 1. So now we can see that there is another heading that appears under the table of contents. And I think this is one of the most useful functions under text cell blocks. Okay, so as we work on the actual coding files, we will be running multiple lines of codes. So how do we then find a certain chunk of code very easily without scrolling up and down? Is using this table of contents, this sectioning. Okay, so let's just say that we click on the topic that we just created. It will just redirect us to that particular section in just a click. Okay, so please do note that this is a relatively helpful and useful function that you need to take note. So say, for example, now we just created a heading. Can we also create subsections under these sections? So the answer is yes. We will just use multiple hash. So just now we use one hash and say now we want to create topic 1A. That is one level indented compared to this topic. So we'll use one hash. So this topic 1A now appears as the same level as topic 1. So as we add on another hash, we are actually putting them one level down of topic 1. So this is a subheading where you can easily retrieve the contents under these subheadings. Okay. I think that's all I want to share about text cell blocks. So next, what we want to cover is how do we save our work. So I mentioned earlier, once we launch this notebook, it is saved automatically in our Google Drive under a folder called Collab Notebook. So now, if you just want to make sure that this file is saved, we will just use the file button, and we can save a copy of this code in our drive. We can also save a copy in GitHub. Okay, so in the future practical classes, what we'll do is I will share you the link of any notebooks or any sample codes. So then you will be given viewer access rights, and therefore make sure that you save a copy in your drive. So once you save a copy of the code, my sample code in your drive, you will be able to work around with it, and the changes that you make is only limited to the file that you are using. Okay, so that is how we save our files. And how do we share our work? I've already covered this earlier, so we won't go through that. The next thing that I want to cover is mounting our Google Drive. So mounting our Google Drive means how do we connect this notebook to any location, to any files that is saved in our Google Drive, right? So in order to do that, we will have to authorize this notebook to connect to our Google Drive. So there are a few ways to do it. First is we can do it from this code, from this button here, just click on it, or we can also use some code to initiate the connection. So say, for example, we just add on a code block, click on the generate, say we want to mount our drive. So these AI assistants will just create some code to that will allow us to connect to our Google Drive. So what it says is we are bringing in a drive package from this google.collab library. So then from this drive package, we are retrieving a function called mount. So mount where? Mount to our Google Drive. So once we run this code, it will prompt you, it will prompt certain things that we just need to say yes, we want to connect to our Google Drive, and go through several steps to connect that notebook to our Google Drive. So I want you to take a look at when it is running, we are actually not connected. So how do we make sure that we are connected? So once we finish running this code, you will see that, okay, we are now mounted, and you will also see that under this environment, we are connected to our Google Drive, which stores all our files in the Google Drive. Okay? That is about mounting drive. So now, how do we connect to the GPUs or TPUs provided by Google? So now this is on runtime. So in order, by default, this notebook is connected to the CPUs. So in order to connect to GPUs or TPUs, we will just need to go to runtime, change the runtime type. So you will see this prompt. And you can see that right now, this notebook is running on Python 3. So it recognizes everything in the code blocks as Python 3 languages. And you can also switch to R, where you can run some R command in those code blocks. So you can only use one language at a time. So then this is where you can choose to upgrade the processing power from that interface. So if you are connected to yours, you will see that you have less options compared to mine because mine is a paid version. But you do have the access to GPU and TPU for a limited time frame. Okay, so do plan out your work in case you need the access to GPU and TPU in the future. Okay, so yeah, we have just finished the introduction of Google Drive. So those who have not used Google Drive before, are you clear on what is that about? Yes, the function, they are very straightforward. Okay. Right. Yes.
Can I get that as it came late?
Yes.
Reading so.
Yes. Yeah, I'm showing that on this. Okay. So what are some of the basic Python libraries and packages which are designed for computer vision tasks? So this is something that we want to bring you through today. So today we will just try to introduce two libraries which is commonly used for computer vision tasks. What we will do is we'll try to import one image that we from Google Drive into our environment. Okay, as simple as that. So what are the two libraries that is commonly used for computer vision tasks? The two of them are OpenCV, which is called the Open Source Computer Vision Library, and another one is Python Imaging Library, PIL, which sometimes people pronounce it as Pillow. Okay, these are two very common package that is being used in computer vision tasks. So under this notebook, I have provided some description on what these libraries is about. Okay, so in the future practical classes, I will provide you this workbook. So how can you use this workbook then? So if you scroll through the workbook, you will see some pages which are coded in pink, some pages which are coded in green, and some pages which are coded in yellow. So those which are coded in yellow contains the code to run certain tasks. So every practical class, we will go through some tasks which are important. And how do you know what these codes are about? So you can retrieve the description from the green color slides. So green color gives you a context of what we are going to run in the from the instruction pages. And then green color gives you the description, and pink color gives you the theory of relevant theories of everything that we are trying to demonstrate from the class itself. Okay, so I expect you to read and learn the theory on your own. So today, let's just try to use OpenCV and also Pillow to import one image into our Google Colab as our warm up to that. So what we need to do now is to go to My Times. I have provided an image here. Can you download this image and upload this image to a location in your Google Drive? Have everyone completed the uploads? So once you complete the upload, I would like you to go back to your Google Colab and follow these instructions. So instructions on page 26 and also 27. So what we are trying to do is to import the important functions that is required to work around with image data. So we will first import these NumPy, Pandas, and Matplotlib as the basic required libraries. Then we will also import skimage, import CV2, and also import PIL. So next, once we have imported the important libraries, we shall mount our notebook to our Google Drive. So can we take 3 minutes to complete this step? Make sure that at the end of these steps, we are connected to Google Drive. That means you go through a series of authorization for this notebook to connect to our Google Drive.
Yes.
What's that?
We have to type all the type of double thing outside. Don't we have to keep
Have you finished typing? Yes, right? So, yes. So those who are still new to Python, I just want to give you some context of what is this about, okay? So now what you just type is basically some codes that allows you to bring in the libraries into this environment. So what can you change and what can you not change? So this is the basic concept or principles of how Python codes is being written. We just need to learn the pattern of it. We don't have to memorize the code. Do you have to memorize the code? No, we don't have to memorize the code, but we have to know how to recognize and read them. Okay. So whenever we say import NumPy, it means that this NumPy is actually a specific names which is given to a library itself. So then anything behind the S is a name that we want to give to this NumPy, a short form that we want to give to this NumPy. So in the case where we want to name this as NM, that is totally fine because as you run the code, it wouldn't change much. It is just that in the future, whenever we want to call some function from the NumPy, instead of NP, we have to use NM dot something else. Okay, these are things that you can change, and this is the part where you cannot change because they are definite. So now say, for example, import pandas as PD. Say we just accidentally type pandas as panda. So once we run the code, we will see that there is an error because this panda, it just doesn't exist. Okay. So we have to use the specific name given to that specific library to call them. Okay, this is how it works. So towards the end, we are just mounting our Google Drive. So I believe that you have already uploaded the image file into your Google Drive. So now let's just go to slide 30 and also 31. What we are trying to do now is to bring in or to import the image 01 into this environment. So it takes several steps. So what we are trying to do here is using this pillow image to read the image file into this environment. What we are trying to do here is we define the URL to the image file, and then we save it in a variable called data dir. So we can name this anything we want. Say, for example, image X, image grade, anything that we want. So once we run this line of code, it will not so once we run this line of code, once we run this line of code, you will see nothing. You will not see the image. We are just basically saving this URL into this variable. So now how do we call out that image? How do we preview the image that we just read? So it takes several more steps. So for example, here, if we have just imported that image file using this pill, so now we are importing another package called image. So under this image, there is a function called open. So we will have to use this open function under image package that is saved in the pill library to open the image. So now just say, we just run this code here. We should be able to see the image. Okay, are you able to open the image? Yeah. So now, let's try importing the same image using OpenCV. So these are the code it takes to import the image using OpenCV. Can you try? So at the end of the code, you should be able to see this image. Are you able to run and import the image using both Pillow and also OpenCV? Are you trying? So now we shall end this lab session. We shall end this lab session somewhere over here, where we just learn how to use Pillow and how to use OpenCV to import image into this Google Colab notebook. So the key takeaway from these lab classes is how do we work around with the functions that are written in multiple packages. Okay, so what you should experience with right now is when you use Pillow to import a certain image, it takes different steps. And if you want to do the same task using another library, you are using different steps. That is because the programmers of these libraries have programmed it differently. And therefore, whenever these Python libraries, it gives us the convenience and ease to use the code in just one line, few lines, but we are also bound by how these programmers have programmed these functions to be. Okay? So in the next session, what we will go through is how do we use these libraries to then do some cropping, to do some rotation and things like that. How do we tweak the images using these libraries? Okay? So this is how we are going to run the future practical classes. I will be providing you with workbooks. We'll run through some of the important steps to get you started. And in the case where we couldn't finish the entire workbook, that is going to be your homework or self-learning task. So what you need to do is just to follow the instructions in the workbook and see if you could get the desired output at the end of the day. So in case you couldn't, what I recommend you to do is to bring back that question or error message in the next class. Then we shall configure or troubleshoot your error during the next class. Okay? So we will also cover the image operation next week, EDA. But I would like you to try running those codes, try to understand them before the next practical class. Is that fine? Okay? Yes, questions? Huh? The codes?
Is start with the code in itself.
Okay.
And
Can you come?
for here is given based on Google Collaborate,
Yes.
but this library does not exist.
Oh,
Like
you
saying,
should install it.
no. As in like, okay. So where is it? Wait,
It seems like you.
yeah. So okay, yeah, this one. Okay, yeah, this one.
Mm-hmm.
This one does not exist the same way over here. A bit different.
Mm-hmm.
So what about this?
Bye-bye.
So what about
Oh, okay. Can you show the error message?
okay. I'll just try.
Bye-bye. See you next week. Or maybe you can just put it in a separate code block. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, that's better.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's
No, is it? Does it exist? Let's see whether. Ah, okay. That is specific to Google Colab.
yeah. That's the thing, right? So that's what I was.
You don't have to do that.
Yeah, but like the thing is, right? So because you're using I am show, right? So
Are you able to run I am show?
no, that's the thing. That doesn't work.
Okay.
So it's like you have to do it like slightly differently, but I don't know.
Okay.
So
What you need to do is go to open CV. Why don't you use the Google Colab instead?
I don't like Google Colabs anymore. I prefer.
But I think it is very helpful now with the AI assistant.
Oh yeah, that's true. But like I just prefer.
So what you can do is go to Google documentation.
Okay.
So then you will have to go to core operations
Okay.
to find the operations that would allow you to read the
This
image.
thing.
Yes,
Okay,
this
got
one.
Got it.
Yeah. It's called item read,
Um,
if I'm not mistaken.
okay, got it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So it is embedded as CV
yeah,
over here. So it is directly under this CV2.
Yeah.
But you will just use IM read.
Okay.
Yeah, in this case. You try, can you try?
Try. Right.
Yeah. So you change this one to CVIM read.
Let's see, like
Dot.
okay. I am dot read. Oh, like this. Okay. Like that. Probably.
Did you import it as CV or
Yeah.
to? Okay, let's see.
Wait, so okay, it takes the okay, I got it. So this would probably have to be wait, no. Like okay, it did something, but okay. It did something. All right.
Okay.
What is it originally supposed to do? Like this line.
Okay, it is supposed to just show you that image.
Oh, okay, that's it.
Yeah,
Right?
that's
Okay.
give you a preview of that image.
Okay, got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is how you work
I
around.
got it. Okay.
Very easy.
Okay, let's see.
You have MLPC?
Yes, we're actually forming the PC.
Then you came to CVNLP.
It's like we have class from 5 to 6 after that, so we have 2 hours break and then
But you can go to somewhere which is more, comfortable. It is so hot. I'm sweating. Oh my God. What happened to Taylor's? What happens to all your fees? To this broken aircon? I mean, seriously? I mean, seriously? Where did all your fees go?
the ABPC in this